As you can see, this is the final part of the Steel Soul run for Hollow Knight. And I must say, this run was pretty difficult at this point in time. I'm going to be fast-forwarding parts that were difficult instead of cutting them directly out to show how long some parts may have taken without the editing. I'm headed to the Watcher Knights, which are supposed to be the defenders of the Observer bug, who gets a few lore lines in, but I don't necessarily remember them. I have to go through this building, though, because we need, like, the Pale King, like, we need to defend the Hollow Knight by putting all of these teachers in obvious locations besides Hera. Like, Hera's the only one that I can say without a doubt cannot be really raided easily, while the others are just like in the middle of places, like, oh, I'm the teacher bug, I'm just going to be in the middle of here, don't mind me. You know? Let's see. This area just has the same old enemies from the City of Tears. It just has a higher frequency of those bigger husks that do two masks of damage. And they're a bit annoying to deal with since they will instantly block any attack that they aren't blocking. And I head directly for the Watcher Knights. Now the Watcher Knights aren't really that hard to deal with when you're upgraded, but if you decide to go against these guys without like any nail upgrades, or any like mask upgrades, or any good charms, then you'll likely be destroyed. The Watcher Knights have a basic swipe attack where they flash their nail at you, either to the left or the right, depending on where you are in proximity to them. And they also have a Sanic spin dash attack, where they sort of not really roll into like a ball, but they just sort of spin their blade in a wheel rotation and gain momentum by doing that. They also have a bounce attack. Just like a rubber ball, they start with some height and then bounce 3 times. The amount of distance they make is dependent on your location on the arena. And that's really it. The only thing that makes the Watcher Knights hard is that you fight 2 of them at a time. There's 6 of them, but there is a chandelier you can drop by cutting a rope in like a secret room that's located in the room to the left. If you wall jump and then hit the wall, and then it will drop one of the chandeliers and it will just say nope. The Shade Dash is a really good ability for this fight. It's not only does it allow you to survive a hit, it just allows you to phase through them without any need of worrying of damage. But, you know, that's really it. They go down really quickly with upgrades and good charms, especially if you have the Dark Shade. And I am always disappointed on the fact that all of the 3 bugs that are meant to defend the Hollow Knight are probably the lamest bosses, but I guess they're supposed to be lore, like, breadcrumbs, I suppose, because if you dream nail them, they're like, lore! Lore, lore, lore. You want lore? I got lore, just dream nail me. Also, there's a really long elevator to this guy. So once you get all of them dream nailed and you absorb their essence, you can finally go fight the Hollow Knight. But if you're planning on fighting the Radiants, you need to do some extra steps. Like you need to complete the the King Heart Charm. I forgot exactly what it's called. And then you need to turn that into a dark version of that charm. And you really have to go out of your way. Like, if you talk to Hornet after getting the Shade Cloak upgrade, she will sort of tell you that there's two options. There's killing the Hollow Knight and sort of just taking his place, repeating the cycle for like another Hollow Knight to sort of fulfill over and over again, or to actually defeat the Radiance, which will stop the process from happening entirely. Prepare to see a lot of fast forward parts. I'm like, yeah. I'm just gonna include all the parts I cut out to show you how much of a quest it is to get to one area to the next. And the first thing you need to do in order to get the Radiance is to get enough essence. I believe it's like 1800. Once you get 1800 Dream Essence, then you can get the Awoken Dream Nail, which allows you to Dream Nail this like husk of a enemy from the White Palace, which unlocks probably the hardest area of the platform in, and some of the most difficult enemies in the game to actually deal with. If you get like 2400 essence, the Seer Sword is just like, okay, I'm gone now. I'm gonna say my final words and leave. Though I do find it interesting, the Radiance is supposed to be a moss, and the Seer is essentially giving you the tools to inadvertently defeat her own, you know, god or something. Like, the Seer is interesting because she never really shows, like, a hostile reaction of the Radiance. She sort of just says, oh, she did nothing wrong, and the Pale King did more wrong things than the Radiance. Which, I mean, is kind of interesting when you think about it, but it's kind of weird how the Seer is inadvertently just giving you the tools to do so. Yeah, but whatever, what can you do? You also get the, like a Dream Gate ability, which allows you to teleport to certain areas with a lot of dreams in them. And I mean, that's pretty cool. It allows you to get to a lot of places much, much quicker, but it doesn't help you at all for the flower quest. And that's a nightmare to do. Like, one person was like, oh, you can choose it with item storage. I'm not sure how you abuse that glitch. The White Palace is the hardest area to platform in, because many of its platform challenges are much more extreme compared to the Queen's Garden, especially the Pass of Pain, which I didn't do for this playthrough, or this run. Because I did it once and I was like, yeah, that's enough. I was a bit lazy. All you get for beating the Path of Pain is a bit of lore. Like, one of my friends mentioned, like, oh, you're gonna tell me that the Path of Pain has some lore, like, it has a reward, and I'm like, well, you do get 5 seconds of lore, and you get the reward of actually completing it. You encounter 2 different enemies in the White Palace. You encounter these bugs that actually never die. They just sort of reassemble themselves. And you fight White Palace guards, which take a hefty amount of damage. And they also deal a hefty lot of damage. They do 2 masks if they hit you with their boomerang blade. And if they hit you, it does 2 masks. You can actually you can parry these guys easily compared to most enemies. But there's a lot of platforming. And there's like Super Meat Boy saw blades. Like, believe it or not, the Path of Pain was not as hard as unlocking the kid from Super Meat Boy. That took me days on end of rage to actually do. Because not only do you have to do a very frustrating first section where the hitboxes for the spikes are very off, but you also have to sort of maneuver the kid around, and all he has is a double jump. He's like about the same speed as Super Meat Boy, but he can double jump. And double jumping is always a cool ability to abuse. Like, he had like the same height for both his initial starting jump and his double jump. There's a lot of sections I sort of fast forward here. And this has a very good theme to it, believe it or not. But you have a bunch of saw blades just spinning and causing a very foreboding theme. Yeah. There's also these Hollow Knight, bug statues, which have infinite amounts of soul to them. Like, you can keep on hitting them, and they will, like, I believe it's this, or the Path of Pain. No, it's the Path of Pain that has those. But this is, like, I just use the save and quit. Like, you can save and quit at any point of the game, and it will just teleport you back to your save point. You can use this to speedrun. You can do this to save fragile charms if you're doing the normal playthrough. Or you can be a coward like I was and just save and quit on a Steel Soul run. Which I actually did a lot. But whatever, what can you do? I can't wait until the next content pack for Hollow Knight. I was a bit late. Like, I joined right after the content pack for the Hidden Dreams and the Grim Trope came out. I'm a bit tired right now, admittedly. But yeah. You gotta be really careful. Like, if you have the Hive Blood charm with, like, quick focus, well, if you just have the Hive Blood charm, you can get through this without dying. It's just a matter of you being very patient. Since all of these hazards only do, like, one mask, and it only causes one part of the Hive Blood to disappear, I really hate one section of this, where it forces you to go through this one area where there's, spikes sort of extruding out of the ceiling and floor. And you have to sort of get a rhythm down for when they go up and down, and back and forth. Ooh. That was probably my least favorite section. I think that's coming up later?
Yeah.
No, I think I already passed that. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna skip ahead in the future to see if I actually missed that. Well, it's not really the future, it's the past, but right now I'm skipping ahead on the video. But it's still the past. Let me see. Yeah, this section is far later on, like 5 minutes later. I don't edit some of the hits out. I don't want to do a hitless run. You know, there's this meme I saw in the Hollow Knight Discord where they were saying, is it true that a hitless run is not getting hit? Wouldn't it mean not hitting the boss at all? I mean, you're technically hitting the boss, but it was stupid logic with Scenic. Oh, that guy. Like, if you search "I'm Scenic" on his on that Discord without the apostrophe, you'll see, like, you know what? Let me see the exact number. Well, why not? Why not? 348 results. Wow. That is a lot. The Path of Pain is also really annoying because sometimes it teleports you far back from the platform you just jumped on, so you have to start some sections over again. The voyage to the Pale King isn't as stingy with its save points for whenever you hit a hazard, which is I'm very thankful for the Cherry team for not making this section that hard. Once you get like a gist of the section down, you should be able to get it done in like a minute or two. Everything in Hollow Knight goes a lot faster if you don't die a bunch of times doing so, and I learned that after doing my first run. You can dream nail these Pale King worshippers and get a whole bunch of soul from doing that. In fact, they're pretty much an infinite source of soul compared to the other statues because you can just dream nail them over and over again. You shouldn't be killing these guys unless you're going for a 100% run where you're trying to get the Hunter's Journal done. I don't like this section, but I don't like the other section much more than this. Like, it's sort of rumored, like, I'm not sure about this, but it was sort of rumored while this was a Kickstarter that the Pale King sort of went into hiding, but when you find him, he's dead. You know, you can knock his skull around, and nothing will happen at the very end of this section. And a lot of, like NPCs, like describe the Pale King as sort of a god that sort of made all of the bugs think properly and rationally, while the Radiants made bugs into monsters without thought. So basically, the Pale King decides to trap the Radiants in a creature that has no thought either. In fact, in the game, there's a quote that's like, no will to break, but all of the knights seem to have like a will to live in some fashion. Like, all of them, like, we've seen 2 other Hollow Knights, the one in the Abyss that got infected, and the one in the Green Path that sort of just died. Like, why would they just continue to move if they didn't have a will to even live in the first place? Like, I mean, seriously. Also, a sad thing about the spikes, well, the spikes that extrude out of the ceiling and the saw blades, you can't shade you can't shade cloak through them. You can't. I thought this section was a passive pain area, so I just fly off of the edge like that. Oh boy, the passive pain. It wasn't the hardest platforming challenge, but it was certainly up there. This game has more methodical and patient platforming compared to other games like Super Meat Boy, where it's super slippery and you have to get the point A from point B as quickly as humanly possible. Basically, you just want to jump over these. For this section, you want to wall jump as soon as possible. Once you see the spikes are down, you just wall jump. Yeah, basically what I'm doing in these sections that don't receive a hit as a penalty for not doing it right. It's something the average viewer should be doing, or should at least try to do. I mean, the big problem with this section, and oh boy, a big fast forward part is coming that was about 10 minutes, I'd say. And it's the section where the spikes extrude out of the ceiling and floor. Like, I'm pretty sure there's like another name for that, but I'm just gonna call them the spikes that extrude out of the ceiling. Because why not? I do save and quit a lot to sort of make things easier for me, since I can just go through a section and say, oh, I don't really have to worry about dying too much. So let's see. You know, I'm way back than I originally thought. I'm about right here. Yeah, I'm just starting the fast forwarding. And then the section after that is a drop, like a Minecraft dropper, where you have to avoid all the stuff from impaling you. Or in Minecraft's case, just killing you by gravity. But it is the drop that kills you. It's a sudden stop. Or it's the shock that happens midway through the drop. Whichever you would prefer. Oh, I believe it was called the King Soul. Oh well. What can you do? Like, there's another section I have to explore in order to get this game finished. And it's in the Abyss. But first we need to complete the King's Soul and head there and sort of change it. Like, we need to make the King's Soul into a darker version, into the Void Heart, I believe it's called. I've learned that dashing through this section helps. Like, there's like a 1-2, 1-2 pattern. Just wait for like a half second and another half second and you dash and you hope for the best. Like, you should hope for the best. Yeah, but you have to be careful in this section. You basically have to be falling immediately. And if you're not, you'll get hit. Yeah, this is a section where you dash under all the hazards. Like, there's a section coming up. Okay, so this is where you're falling, and this part's annoying because you have to fall at a very specific time in order to not get hit and start the whole section over again from the fall to the end of it. Cherry Team gave a lot of chances to heal up in this part. Like, it's a good thing a lot of the enemies here just give you free soul without much effort or hassle on your part. But yeah, there's certainly a lot of dark and grim elements for the White Palace. You know, it's supposed to be this holier-than-thou place where the king, like the Pale King, sort of lived at. to his humble abode. You're gonna do a lot of crystal heart dashing in this part. Like, I'm nearly complete. Yeah, this is the really easy part. You just have to be careful and not get hit while crystal heart dashing, and that's it. I mean, Hollow Knight really expects you to know how to platform by now. The only thing Hollow Knight doesn't really teach the player is how to pogo. They don't really go into much detail. Like, if they had a section in the Forgotten Crossroads or Green Path where it was absolutely necessary to pogo, and I know for the nail arts area you have to know how to pogo, but that's when you get the Crystal Heart. So you should know, like, by experience, that by hitting an enemy upward, like, downwards, causes you to go up, like, to propel you upwards. Once you get the King's Soul, you're kicked immediately out of the White Palace. And now you need to get the Heart of Void. Now there's an interesting glitch that happens here where I just slowly crystal dash and I'm like, what happened? Like, you notice how I sort of moved while doing so. There's some glitches I encountered in this run. But basically you have to go to the bottom of the abyss and you have to use the Dark Descent or the normal descent, like the normal dive, and go into this area composed entirely of Hollow Knight heads. Because if that isn't dark to you, I don't know what is. No. You don't want to let these shades touch you because all of them do 2 hearts of damage, if I remember correctly. Once you get, like, the Abyss is the only place where you can get the shade, though, for your Hunter's Journal, since you're never supposed to actually die. So, yeah. You have to sort of this area assumes you have the Shade Cloak already, and you should. And basically you have to dream nail yourself, causing you to sort of remember the chasm when it was darker or something. You slowly climb up with this grim music playing. You go up and up the chasm after digging yourself out of the pile of Hollow Knight heads or skulls. And you'll see these quotes like, no, not using a voice mod, by the way. That's something I can do with my throat. You know? I could do a lot of stuff with my throat. My voice is like a trumpet, toot toot. No, anyways. You slowly climb up this chasm. And eventually, once you reach the top, like... And once you get all the way to the top of it, you notice a twist. It turns out the Hollow Knight you played as is a similar age to the Hollow Knight. He looks back at you like, what are you doing? Implying that he had something in his head after all. Just sort of bad, since the Pale King wanted a conduit in which he could put the radiance in to sort of stop the radiance from spreading infection, but you know what can you do? Now I'm gonna fast forward this part. This is the hefty pass to the final boss. Once you have the Void Heart, you can unlock 2 endings. The siblings ending and the true ending. The true ending is where you kill the infection for good. And basically Horna will be like, I hope he can do it. I hope that this small little guy can actually do it. And she'll help when she thinks she can. So basically you have to transverse in this large hallway with a bunch of white, dreamy stuff. You can rest here and see your progress. Yeah, that's a thing. It's like, oh, we want to make sure you 100% this before you actually go in here. You can actually get more percentage depending on if you beat the Grimtrope stuff or not. Like, I believe the max is 106. Now you gotta break these chains holding the Hollow Knight in. Because, you know, chains were definitely a good idea to hold him back from doing anything. So you free him, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna kill you now. So the Hollow Knight has a jump attack, where he jumps in an arc. He also has a dash attack, where he thrusts his nail forward and then tries to stab or impale you at extreme speeds. He has another attack where he just slashes 3 times. He has a counter attack where he like stands downwards and then sort of puts his nail in front of his head and is like, you want some? You want some, bro? And then there's also his infection attack, where he sort of like puts his cloak up, and he like shoots a bunch of infection blobs at you. He also has a jump attack, where he jumps into the air, and then like hits the ground with his nail, and then summons a bunch of flame pillars. This guy isn't too hard, though, because he decides to kill himself mid-fight. Like, in a couple seconds now, he's like, if the Hollow Knight is going to kill... If that Hollow Knight is going to kill me, it wouldn't be considered a kill if I kill myself first. Improvise. Adapt. Overcome. He also has another attack where the infection consumes the Hollow Knight, and he sort of hovers like a balloon and crashes down to the ground. Then he has one last attack where he sort of floats in the air, and just like that one Opal enemy, I forgot the exact name, he shoots a bunch of infection everywhere. And that's pretty much it. You just need to be aware of what he's going to be doing and when he's going to be doing it. Because he isn't too bad to deal with. And compared to most bosses, the Hollow Knight isn't too bad. You can bum rush him pretty easily. Especially when you have fluke wounds. Which is probably... that charm's definitely going to be nerfed. But to fight the Radiance, you must Dream Nail the Hollow Knight. And then you get sent to this arena where you challenge the Radiance to a fight. And the Radiance is no joke, because she does 2 masks of damage. And she has 4 different phases. Her first phase is where she sort of just starts in the middle of the arena and does like one of 4 different attacks. She has one attack where she summons a bunch of white nails, and either they travel right to left horizontally, or she summons some from midair, and they sort of just go downwards at you. She has an attack where she summons infection orbs, much like the Soul Master and Tyrant. She has another attack where she summons a bunch of infection pillars that travels from left to right or right to left, and you have to shade cloak through them. And then finally, she has an attack where she summons 9 nails around her face, and she attacks you with them. The next phase, she starts summoning spikes beneath areas of the arena. Oh, and she also has another attack where she fires laser beams from her eyes. It's 5 lasers, and she does it 3 times. And every time she does it, the lasers fill an area that was previously empty for you to dodge the first laser beam set. Her third phase is where she just summons a whole lot of nails, and she stands she floats completely still. She just hovers there. And then we get to her third phase where you have to fight her in a arena of floating platforms, which makes it significantly harder. None of her attacks really changes, besides the fact that her nail summoning attack, when she summons a circle of nails, arches a bit when they fly really far away. Once you get the radiance to a low enough HP, you have to climb up and up. This phase requires only 1 hit, but if you die here on the Steel Soul Run, it's really sad. All it takes is 1 hit though, and 1 hit is all that you need. Then you just spam the X button on finish her! You know. And that's the end. You just spam the X button, she sort of gets drowned in the void. And then Hornet sits there, and it's what am I doing here? And a couple seconds from now, after the void is done consuming everything. And wow, was this an amazing ending. I can't wait until Hornet becomes a playable character. Hornet is a really good character. She actually has, emotions and stuff. Compared to other, female characters who are very boring in comparison. Nobody in Hollow Knight is perfect, and there's no Mary Sue characters. And that's what I really love about this story. It's you get what you want to see from the story. If you want to learn this, you have to work for the story. So she sort of just looks at the mask, the broken mask of the now dead Hollow Knight that defeated the Hollow Knight, because that Hollow Knight wasn't nearly hollow enough to contain the to contain the radiums. So you, the new Hollow Knight, have to beat the Hollow Knight. I'm trying not to get a copyright claim from that one channel that did that. But that's life for you. And now we have the end credits! And this game was a really good game. It was a fresh breath of new air. StarCraft 2 got old and boring, and this was definitely new and fresh. And I'm glad I bought this. And I'm glad this Kickstarter blew a lot of other Kickstarters out of the water. You would think, oh, a Kickstarter sucks. But no, this was actually really good for a Kickstarter game. I wish I saw this when it was still a Kickstarter. Maybe I would have paid, for a small portion of the game. Like, I would have donated a bit of money. And I feel really bad for Taizo. Poor Taizo. He's like, I want my fan character in the game. And then he dies. Why? Yeah, I feel bad for Taizo. Because he's like, I paid like $100 to have my character be in the lore. Like, it would have been cool if, like, you fought the God Tamer with Taizo's character. Also, but yeah, I really enjoyed this game. There isn't a lot of flaws, other than sometimes in the Path of Pain, the game is a bit stingy on where you can actually, like, respawn at whenever you get hit by a hazard. But yeah, it's not a big problem. Like, that's only for, like, the Path of Pain. Oh boy, but I might be doing more runs of this game. Congratulations! You played skillfully and proved you have a steel soul. Thank you for taking the time to explore and conquer the world we built. We'll meet again soon with a new challenge for you. Press any button to continue. Yeah, but this was a very fun game. Very fun. I really enjoyed it. And this is my percentage for the Steel Soul run. It's 76% in 10 hours, 55 minutes, and 43 seconds. This game was obviously made for speedrunners in mind, but I really love this game. Maybe I'll do another run when, like, the new content pack comes out. I might do, like, the, boss, or I might stream this later. But, you know, see you next time. Ciao!